All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Social 30-2. The inevitable reality is that we are going to have you do some written assessments, and we're going to start looking at the very first one right now. Assignment number 1 is meant to be quick, and I'm going to show you one today. I'm going to run you through the actual process of how we handle this, and I'll show you how to write one. Okay, I'm going to write one for you so you see what it actually looks like. Okay, so I'm going to put this document that you see up on the screen in Canvas for you so you can see what you need to do. And if you are not one of my students, that's okay. Then you'll at least have the explanation of what to do as far as how to handle this assignment. Okay, so assignment number 1, guys, there's 3 written assignments on the diploma exam if you're in Social 30-2 here in Alberta. Assignment number 1 always focuses on 1 of 8 key course concepts. Okay, like big understandings you should have as a student in social studies here in Alberta. So as it says, right, assignment number 1 in social always focuses on some key course concepts. The trick in assignment 1 is to always be aware of these major themes. Now, just so you know, at the bottom of the document here, I put what those themes, what those topics actually are, and they're pretty darn general. If you're walking out of Social 30-2 and you don't know these, you haven't been paying attention. Okay, so first one, collectivism and individualism, right? We've had assignments on collectivism, we've had them on individualism. Next one, capitalism / free market / laissez-faire. You need to know all those terms. Command economy / communism, okay, we will get there. Classical liberalism, we've done that. Modern liberalism, we will talk about that. Dictatorship, authoritarianism, totalitarianism, and then also democracy. So your assignment number 1 is going to be from one of those 8. It just is. Okay, and it might be one you've practiced in class, it might not be, but you need to be aware of what defines these major course topics. Okay, so knowing that, guys, as it says, this assignment is meant to be quick. It's meant to be about a 25-minute assignment, right? I typically tell my students 30. Now in the land of Shangri-La that we're living in here in Alberta, you get 60. It can take you up to 60 minutes. There's no reason why it should, but you can take up to 60 minutes, okay? So it's worth 10% of your overall diploma exam, and it's worth 5% of your overall grade here in Social 30, okay? Now, it says for this assignment, you always do the following. Honestly, the best way to look at what to do here is to actually look at an assignment number 1. So here we have an assignment number 1 that the government has released for students to check out. I will put a link to this in Canvas so you can see what an S, a PF, and an E looks like from the perspective of the government. And it's really not that magical. Now, first of all, right, note it says suggested time 20 to 25. I say 25 to 30, whatever, okay? It's meant to be quick because the other 2 assignments are much longer and require more depth in what you write, okay? So just be aware of that. Now, what you get, guys, when you open up the assignment are a series of what are called prompts. Okay, these are prompts. They're to get you thinking. Now, I just want you to understand right off the bat, you do not need to use the prompts. If you look at the topic, and we still haven't even looked at the topic yet, but if you look at the topic and you're like, oh yeah, I know this, this, and this, I can write about those things, I'm 100% confident of that fact, then do it. Go for it, okay? However, the prompts exist to help students out who maybe are a little bit wishy-washy on the topic. Okay, now it says which characteristic or characteristics of economic systems are the most important to a capitalist economy. This right here, the capitalist economy, that is what the focus of this document, of this written assignment actually is. So how do we handle this? 1 second here. All right, so how do we handle this? Sorry, I just had to switch over into a program where I can actually use my handy dandy drawing pen here. So first thing, guys, I always tell my students, underline what the topic is, okay? Capitalist economy, okay? What is that? That is that free market. Oops, running out of room. That is that free market, laissez-faire economy. And it's good to write these things down. Why is it good to write these things down? Because these are going to be the kinds of things that you put into your little intro blurb, I like to call it, right? Your little intro blurb. So laissez-faire, free market. Is there maybe a name we should know when it comes to a capitalist economy? Well, yeah, probably Adam Smith. Right? Maybe his book, The Wealth of Nations. I'm just going to put W-O-N, right? Wealth of Nations. It is the opposite of communism, right? It's just good to know. Okay, do we have any examples maybe of any great capitalist economies in the world? Well, yeah, I would argue like the United States of America is probably the best example of a capitalist economy. Okay, now we've identified what the topic is. We have put some key terms, laissez-faire, that's supposed to be free market, but it, I guess, can't write off the page. It's the opposite of communism, USA, Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations. We got lots of good ideas here, okay? We understand what's going on. Now, looking at the prompts. Looking at the prompts, guys, here's the thing that the government's trying to do. They're going to try to trick you up. There's going to be some aspects that they put in here that work for the topic. And they also put some aspects in here that don't work for the topic. This is to see if you know what a capitalist economy actually is and the important characteristics of it. Now, if you're in my social class right now, you would have done the Pillars of Capitalism assignment. Do you think there was a reason why we did that? Well, that's because of this particular assignment, which comes up all the time when you're doing assignment number 1 for the diploma exam. Okay, now what I tell my students we want to do is we want to look at the prompts and we want to write down. First of all, we're going to circle the ones that work with capitalism, and then we cross off the ones that don't. And then based upon that, we'll look at how many are left, and then we'll choose our top 2 or 3 and actually write about them. Okay. So let's start here in the bottom left. Common good. Common good. Does that apply to a capitalist economy? Well, no, you're not working for the common good. You are focused on self-interest. So common good gets a big X on it. That doesn't work. Common good, communism, collectivism, right? That is not capitalism. Capitalism's on the right. Common good, collectivism, communism, socialism, right? They're all focused on the common good. That's on the left, okay? That's not congruent with the capitalist economy. Next, private property. Does that work for a capitalist economy? Absolutely it does. Next one, competition. Do we have competition in a capitalist economy? Well, yeah, we do, right? So let's circle it. Central planning. Does the government plan the economy in a capitalist economy? Absolutely not, right? It's the invisible hand that works. So, and guys, notice how invisible hand, that's one of those characteristics of a capitalist economy. It's not on here, but I can add it. If I want, and that can be one of the things that I write about, okay? Anyways, going on, nationalization. Nationalization is where the government takes over industry. Is that capitalism? No, that is socialist, right? So nationalization, gone. Self-reliance. Does that work for a capitalist economy? Who do you rely on in a capitalist economy? The government, other people, handouts? No, you rely upon yourself. So that works, okay? Profit motive. Is that something that we see in the capitalist economy? Absolutely, right? Profit motive is why capitalists do what they do. They want to get paid. Social programs. Is that something we see in a capitalist economy? No. Government regulation. Well, that's, I mean, regulation and nationalization, right? Regulation is like, okay, it's where government like determines rules for business. Well, as soon as there's government intervention in the economy, that is not capitalism. So we cross it out. And then consumer sovereignty. Are consumers sovereign in a capitalist economy? Do they have choice? Yes, they do. So we circle it. So we've crossed off the ones that don't work. We've circled the ones that do. And guys, if you're unsure, if you're like, I'm not really sure about consumer sovereignty, then cross it off, okay? There's going to be at least 2 of them that I'm pretty confident you're going to know how to write about. And all you need to do is right, really truly about 1, right? But we always say, you know, 2 or 3. But if you can knock it out of the park with 1, then you're totally fine. Okay, so from what's left, we have self-reliance, consumer sovereignty, profit motive, private property, competition, and invisible hand. Now, at this point, guys, we've identified 6 characteristics that work. Now, you don't want to write about 6 characteristics because this is a 20 to 25 minute assignment. So what I'd suggest you do, what I tell my students you should do, is pick your top 2 or 3. Pick your top 2 or 3. So when I look at these, I think, okay, I can nail private property and do a really good job with that. I'm going to put a little number 1 there. I understand competition really well. I know examples of competition in the capitalist economy. I can use that. And then consumer sovereignty, no. Profit motive, self-reliance. I mean, I should pick maybe one of them. So I don't know. Let's go with, I mean, I also wrote invisible hand down. This is a tough one. Which one am I going to pick? Sure, let's go profit. Yeah, let's go profit motive. Okay, and I can actually, to be honest, tie that together with the invisible hand. Okay, so with that being said, guys, look at the instructions here. It says write a response in which you must. Does that mean it's optional or that you have to do it? You have to do it. You need to do all 3 of these things when you write your assignment number 1. So it says, identify the characteristics of economic system that is or are the most important to a capitalist economy. Okay? We have to do this in written form, right? All this needs to be done in written form. And I'll show you how to do that. And then it says, explain why the characteristics are the most important. You have to explain how competition, private property, and profit motive are important to the capitalist economy. And then support your response using your understanding of social studies. Okay, so you have to support your response using your understanding of social studies. What are we talking about here? Well, you should define what the characteristics are, and then you should give examples. And then, lastly, inside your paragraphs, you should explain why important. Okay, I'm just going to put IMPT for important. So explain why they're important. Okay, and that's it. That is it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my other document here for a second. Okay, so in this document, guys, I put a series of steps that I suggest you follow when you do your assignment number 1. So let's look at them. Number 1 says identify the topic. We've done that, right? We looked at the, I'm just going to flip back to it. We've looked at what the assignment says, and then we flip right here to this part of the assignment where it says capitalist economy. So we've identified the topic, okay? So it's capitalism. Now, next, identify the items that support the topic and circle them. We have done that. Identify the items that do not support the topic and cross them off. We've done that too. Now, number 4 says, once you've identified the items that do and do not support the topic, pick your top 2 or 3 that you're most competent to speak about in paragraph form. We say 2 or 3, right? If you're not sure about 3 of them, then do 2. But guys, like, I mean, you can do 1 still and get an E, but usually I would argue there's more than 1 characteristic that is important to the topic, okay? Now, at this point, guys, what we need to do is compose your 3 individual paragraphs based on what you have selected for the topic and write descriptive paragraphs. Note, if you cannot competently speak about 3 different characteristics, choose 2, okay? Now, I used to say, for the love of all things holy, don't just pick 1 unless you think you can knock it out of the park. But at least if you pick 1, you're okay. I'll tell you guys what, the kiss of death on this assignment is where you've chosen 3 characteristics and 2 of them are wrong and 1 is right. In that case, you're confused. You're going to get an L on this particular assignment, okay? But if you choose 3 and 2 are right and 1 is wrong, then you have a bit of confusion, but chances are you're still going to get an S, right? You're still going to get an S, depending upon how well you do those other 2 paragraphs with the correct characteristics. Now, it says, note, in social studies, a good descriptive paragraph always consists of the following. Number 1, defining the subject of the paragraph and demonstrating that you know what it is. Relating the paragraph back to the overall topic to demonstrate you know how items are related. Exploring the paragraph topic by giving some relevant details about it, such as important history, knowledge about the topic, important people, ideological relationships, and current events or relations going on in the world today related to the topic. I'm going to show you how to do this, okay? So that's a quick little intro, guys, to how to do assignment number 1. What I'm going to do in the next module, right, in the next link, is I'm going to put in basically how you do your intro topic and then how you write body paragraphs, okay, how you actually do this, okay? So I'm going to upload this one right now and get on to the other one, all right? Peace, guys, love you, and we'll see you in the next video, okay? Make sure you watch the next video. If you don't, you're not going to do as well as if you actually had watched it, okay? Don't just freestyle this. Trust me when I say I've been doing this for a while, okay?